Hi everybody, welcome to Muriel Reacts and Reviews. On this channel, I will be reacting and reviewing different commentary, episodes, shows, different videos. I am someone who is based out of the United States and I have an interest in just about everything historical. I am not a historian, but I love historical pieces, documentaries, things, anything based off of history. And today I am going to be reviewing a show that I just started watching. It is called The Duchess of Duke. It's based out of London in 1900s. Actually, I believe it starts in 1900. On this show, we will be following the life of I guess she would be considered a commoner by the name of Louisa Layton. Louisa is I think she is 23-year-old female who wants to become one of the top chefs in London. We are introduced in the beginning of the first episode of Louisa, who is on her way to interview for a job as an assistant cook. And she interviews for this position. She is interviewed by the head chef and by a woman who is, I believe in that time, they're considered, I don't know if you would call them, she wasn't a housekeeper. She was the head of housekeeping. I believe that's what it was considered back then. And yes, Louisa does end up getting a job. So she go home, she packs her things. She's living with her parents at the time. And she speaks of her wanting originally to be a teacher, but her mother pulled her out of school, I believe at the age of 12, I believe she said. And so she leaves home, even though her mother is telling her about potential, I won't say romantic matches, because I don't know if romance is really considered back in those, I don't hate to say back in those days, but it is over a century ago. Back in that time, I don't know if people, specifically commoners, if they married for love and romance or if they just married for stability and security. But that was not something that Louisa was interested in. Louisa just wanted to be a cook. She wanted to be the best cook or chef in London, I believe, maybe in all of Europe, I'm not sure. So she gets the job, she goes, she moves in, and at that time, you know, servants or people in service, they live in the home of the nobility that they're working for. So she lives in that home. She gets a little bit of pushback from some of the other servants in the home, but eventually she thrives. The chef agrees to take her under his wing, and he's a French chef, and he takes her under his wing, and he agrees to try to teach her things so she can become one of the best cooks in all of, I believe, just all of London per se. But the funny thing about it is the chef just happens to be going on visiting his sister at one point, and we see in that scene Louisa is kind of thrust into having to prepare dinner for a party of, I believe it was 10. I believe they were all some type of nobility, and she has to plan the whole meal for this party of 10. And y'all, she does it. She pulls it off, and it just so happens that one of the guests, one of the party attendants, happens to be King. At the time, he was the Prince of Wales, Edward VII. He takes a notice of the food being extremely good, that meal being extremely good. So he asks to see the cook who prepared the meal, and even the man of the house, Henry. I don't know if he's a Viscount or a Lord or what he is, but he didn't even realize that the meal wasn't prepared by his chef, but by the chef's assistant. So she comes up and he tells her, you know, how good the meal was. And he places some coins in her hand. And if you watch this show, if y'all let me know, I don't know what those coins were. I don't know if they're shillings or guineas, or if those were one and the same, if those were dollar pieces. You know, back in those days, a pound went a long way. A pound, which is, I know just from my research, a pound equals is like equivalent to $1 or $1.06. But I don't know what those coins were at that time. And I know a pound in 1900 did go a long way. And I think he placed 2 of the coins in her hand. And Louisa, she goes out, steps outside of the room, and she faints. And, you know, job well done. So that's basically episode 1 of the Duchess of Duke Street. If you have any comments, questions, any commentary you want to add concerning episode 1 of the Duchess of Duke Street, please leave it down below. I love engaging into commentary about period pieces, shows that I like to watch. Another show that I watch is Upstairs Downstairs, and I know there are 2 versions, and some may disagree with me, but I love the latter version, not the former. I just couldn't get into that former version, but the latter version, I did love it. But I think it only had like 2 or 3 seasons, but that's another show that I will be covering on this channel. So thank you guys for watching. This is my very first video, and stay tuned for episode 2 of the Duchess of Duke Street.